So today we are going to be going over 8 total designer fragrances that you can wear for the entire year, and we're breaking them down by season. So we're getting 2 fragrances for each season. The idea behind this type of video is to avoid giving you information overload. I don't want to completely drown you with options, especially when you are starting to break it down by spring, summer, fall, winter. Then it becomes very overwhelming and a little bit confusing, especially if you are a beginner or you're just a little bit newer to this in general. So we're going to start off here with spring, work our way through. These are choices that are going to be maybe not what you would expect. So I'm not going over the Sauvage and the Dylan Blue, that type of stuff. I'm trying to switch it up a little bit, trying to give you some new, fresh options that you can kind of build your collection up with. Really quick before we dive into the video here, I will drop links to these down below to discounters. If you do want to pick any of these up for yourself, that's the way to go. That way you can save yourself some money off of the retail price. And another thing is, if you are on the hunt for rare, discontinued, or hard to find fragrances, hit the first link down below, sign up to my mailing list, or you can send a text to the number down below and you will be notified anytime something good comes into stock. All right, let's get kicked off with our first spring choice. It's DIOR Homme Sport 2021. This to me is probably the best DIOR Homme Sport that they have created. Yes, I like it more than the 2008 and the 2012, I do believe, at this point, which is a little bit crazy because I love those first 2 versions. But this stuff is really good. Now this one has kind of an interesting take on the sport DNA. There's actually a little bit of LME in here. It's kind of spicy as well, a little bit warm. So it's not just fresh and citrusy and musky and that's it. That might be a little bit boring. This actually has a bit more going on, a bit more substance. But ultimately what this one also does deliver is a more classy wearing experience. At the same time, it still does maintain kind of a sporty, fresh feel, but with a twist. And I think that's something that really adds a lot of value. This doesn't smell like a lot of the other stuff that designer brands have been pumping out within the past few years. Now, if we're being realistic, you could probably wear this year round. You could wear it in wintertime, you could wear it in summer. It doesn't matter. If I had to choose a particular season that it was best suited for, I would probably say spring, because spring you do get those kind of varying temperatures and kind of in between temperatures, and I think it's best suited for that. But again, it's very versatile. And also, it's a good performing sport scent. Oftentimes you see that name in the title, you think it's going to be a weak performer, like a 6-hour performer or something, but this is not. It's actually an 8+ hour scent. It's really, really good in that category. The second spring scent that I would recommend you check out is GUERLAIN L'Homme Ideal Platine Prive. This is a limited edition. Unfortunately, it did just come out, so don't worry, you've got time. You don't have to rush and get it right now if you don't want, but I do encourage you to pick this up at some point. It's got grapefruit, almond, and neroli. It basically is kind of going back to L'Homme Ideal Cologne and L'Homme Ideal Cool, the 2 fresh summer versions, both of which have been discontinued, unfortunately. I don't know what it is about this brand and this line in particular that they like to discontinue the fresher ones, and they're making this one a limited edition. I don't know why. It's a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. This is beautiful stuff. Nice creamy almond, a little bit of a citrus support, a bit of neroli, kind of white floral in here. It smells amazing. Another one that kind of follows a similar trend of the DIOR, and just that it's very classy, very elegant, and very refined. And again, I think spring is probably the best time of year for this one. Everything is coming back to life. Temperature's warming up. It's really kind of just starting to get that kind of good feeling again outside. That's kind of what this one is indicative of. And, that kind of in-between temperatures is really, really suitable for this. Okay, we'll move on to the season that we're pretty much in right now, at least it feels like it, summertime. So picking 2 out of my collection right now and trying to go with some different choices for you. Here's kind of what I came up with. First is actually a new one, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Summer Vibes. So this one was actually done by Alberto Marias, and it's obviously following up from Light Blue Forever and Light Blue Italian Love. Have big shoes to fill. And this one I think did a really good job, all things considered. It's got cypress, lemon, and amberwood in here. So it's getting away from that overwhelming grapefruit accord that is used pretty much all the way through in both of those versions I just mentioned. And that was kind of a point of contention for a lot of people. They didn't like the grapefruit. Some didn't. I love the scents, but it could be a bit overbearing for some. This one is more smooth, a little bit more silky, but it still does have a bit of that light blue DNA, and it still very much has a summertime feel, as you would hopefully expect given the name and the bottle as well. It's a nice refreshing take on this DNA. I think it's a really well done release, and once this one shows up at discounters for a good price, I think it's definitely worth picking up. I paid retail for it, obviously, bought it when it first came out, and I'm not really regretting that decision. I think it holds its own here, but below retail would be the way to go. Second choice for summer would be something like BRIONI Eau de Parfum ECLAT, which is one of their newer releases, not the newest anymore, but I really like this one here. And you could tell just by the bottle, has this frosted glass look. It definitely looks kind of like an Eau Fresh or a summertime flanker, and it very much is. It's got grapefruit, musk, and ambroxan in here. Another one that's fantastic. Smooth, silky, citrusy, nice, soft musk in here to kind of balance things out. You know, it's not aquatic, it's not fruity, but it's crisp, it's citrusy, and I think the best word to describe this one is refreshing. You know, this one really does have something about it that just complements the scorching hot summer heat very well. Sure, there's other fragrances out there you could choose. You could go with the DIOR Homme Cologne, and then there's so many options. Versace Man Eau Fresh, but this is kind of, you know, a new style of a crisp, refreshing type of scent, which I really like. And I think it's something that will add a bit of value to your collection and change it up a little bit. Let's jump over into fall, which will probably be here before we know it, unfortunately. So you can kind of start looking out for these two on discounters because they have been showing up and you can get them below retail price. This one retails for $130. It's Prada Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Parfum. Just recently showed up for like $99, so nice little savings there. This one's got vanilla, amber extreme, woody notes, and frankincense. It's kind of bizarre when we're talking about a fragrance that is named Ocean and it has a blue gradient. You'll notice that note breakdown is entirely different from Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Toilette, and the scent is also entirely different as well. Misleading to me. I said this in my first impressions. I think they could have taken this DNA, which smells fantastic, and created a brand new line from the brand of Prada, or at the very least created a new flanker within this line and got away from the Ocean, because when people see Luna Rossa Ocean, they're going to be less inclined to try it because they didn't like the original all that much because it wasn't that original. This is much more original. This is a designer scent and a designer brand actually trying to craft something a little bit unique, and I love the DNA. I really love this release, but again, I don't think it's going to get the credit that it deserves because of the fact that it's an Ocean flanker, which is unfortunate. But if you're watching this video and you watch this channel, you'll likely be checking this one out and you'll have a little bit of a gem on your hands. It smells great for fall, in my opinion, and I think it kind of has a little bit of that freshness from the Amber Extreme, kind of a ambroxany accord is I guess what it would be described as. But then you get that frankincense in here, so a little bit smoky, a little bit resinous, a little bit sweet. Very interesting DNA, a little bit of a kind of a unique fizzy kind of texture about this one as well. Kind of reminds me of like a similar texture to something like Paco Rabanne Pure XS, kind of like a sugary feel. I really like it. I think it's a great pickup for the more cool times of the year. And that second fall scent is another flanker. It's a flanker that was done years ago and then it was discontinued, or it was a limited edition, and then now years later they brought it back. This is ROCHAS Man Intense. So I had no idea that they already did an intense version until this came out, and I was looking around online and I saw that at one point it was a real thing, and then again, like I said, they took it away. Now it's back, and you can get this I think for around, I've seen it as low as $35 to $40, and it's like a brand new release, so it hit discounters quick. Pretty cool. So, you know, not too far off from the $20 price of the original. And I'm sure this might come down in price a little bit more. It's got cappuccino, cedarwood, vanilla, lavender in here. It is a beautiful coffee scent. Again, the original is fantastic as well. If you don't have the original yet and you are looking to buy one, I would say toss in the extra 15, maybe 20 bucks and buy this. Or again, if you are waiting, it might come down a little bit more in price by the time we reach the end of summer. You just really don't know for sure. But even at the extra 20 bucks, I think the intense version is well worth it because it's still affordable. It's still under 50 bucks. It is, I'm trying to double check here on concentration. I don't want to misspeak. Yeah, it's an eau de parfum, whereas the original was an EDT. So they're kind of bumping up the concentration. They're bumping up the scent as well. A little bit stronger, a little bit heftier. You still get that rich, creamy cappuccino in here with that lavender, which is classic. This DNA smells amazing. If you are a coffee fragrance fan, you will love this, especially at this price point. And we'll move into our season of winter here. Only choosing 2 options. This is kind of what I would be craving and what I would be looking forward to. And again, it's tough with all of these categories because there's so many. I love so many different things. But narrowing them down and not only choosing what I would like, but also keeping in mind of what I think would be good financial choices for you guys as well in terms of keeping your spending in check and not having to blow a ton of money. These are kind of the options that I came up with here. We have AZZARO, the most wanted parfum, which is using a bourbon vanilla, general woody notes in here, and then some tonka bean and things like that. You know, they only give us 3 notes. I don't even know if tonka is officially listed in those 3 notes, but you definitely get it. It's different than Wanted by Night. It's even different than the Most Wanted in the black bottle. This parfum version is bringing essentially a little bit of a fizzy grape soda opening coming from the ginger. You're going into that sweetness from the tonka bean that may or may not be there, but it's there. And then the bourbon vanilla, which is adding obviously a sweetness, but even just a very small hint of a kind of designer boozy touch. You know, it's not too strong. It doesn't smell like alcohol straight up, still very wearable scent, but it has a little bit of that going on, which kind of adds a touch of a classiness to this one, even though the DNA is still overwhelmingly trendy and modern and young smelling. I love it. I think the opening is very unique. That's kind of one of the main factors about this one that I really am gravitating towards is that opening. It's really unique, and not too many fragrances out there open up this way with that kind of addicting fizziness. It's really quite cool. It's a great performer as well. It smells perfect in the wintertime. And our last scent for winter and our last one for this video, you probably hear that. You probably have some guesses, but this might actually surprise you. SpiceBomb Infrared, the new Eau de Parfum version. Yeah, so you would probably expect to see SpiceBomb Extreme. And in a perfect world, I would like to have that and so many others. But again, trying to change it up, SpiceBomb Extreme would be a very predictable choice, so I'm trying to give you guys some other options. Yeah, this is new, so obviously it's not going to be as popular, but I do think this one does have the potential to go very far once it becomes available on discounters on a regular, consistent basis. For notes, we have resins, pink pepper, cinnamon, chili pepper, leather, and one interesting thing, I was actually double checking today before I shot the video. There's one key note that isn't in here, at least it's not listed. The tobacco is nowhere to be found in the note breakdown. It's bizarre. Now, to be fair as well, and this bottle is the one that's broken, it's kind of hard for me to spray it and then smell it, but you really don't get too much of a tobacco. I mean, you get a little bit of a smokiness, but that can very much be coming from the resins mixing with a little bit of an earthy leather, but it's not in the same type of way that you do get from the original Extreme and things like that. But the resins in here does give it a different twist. Still very warm and spicy from all of the warm notes I just talked about and spices, the pink pepper, chili pepper, cinnamon, things like that. Very much kind of hones in on the SpiceBomb DNA, but with a different twist. And I think that's valuable because you don't want to keep buying the same thing over and over again. There's also isn't any redundancy factor between this and SpiceBomb Infrared EDT. This one I think is the better scent. I would choose this over the EDT. So if you were going to buy one, get the Eau de Parfum. But if you do already have the EDT, it's not going to be a redundant, dumb choice to go out and buy this one. And in fact, you would probably end up liking this one more. It is more interesting. Differentiates more from the line than even the EDT does of infrared. So I think it's a really nice choice overall for wintertime. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for me. 8 fragrances for the whole year, 2 for each season. These are some options. I'll give you something different to work with, and they're all really, really solid in my opinion. Links will be down below. Deals will be going out to my mailing list. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.